Here we are. Picks and bans. Again, reminder, Fearless doesn't really come into play when it's only a best of one. So we'll see what the focus is, what the name of the game is.
The Nako ban will come through from Heretics.
And look, that's a target. I mean, in general, you could say it's a strong meta pick, but we know who that's for.
We know who it's
That's for Niski, a support whose reputation is constantly memed, and yet he is still winning a decent number of games.
He is. The Pantheon gonna quickly follow suit. Lyncas, known for his carry jungle style, his Naafiri has been something terrifying that has found a lot of success here in the league. Now we see the Maokai taken away from Sheo, one of the big facilitators. His Sejuani has been his most played during the regular season. So that is still available, but when we think about priority picks, we're always thinking about things like the Rumble. We're thinking about Taliyah banned away. We're thinking about Varus, some of these high-impact champions that can have huge presence and can be very safe, blind pickable picks. The Gwen taken away from Nako on the top side of the map. How Vitality look to round things out?
Well, ultimately, a little bit more time here. The Taliyah ban I do respect, but we've limited at least one of those premier options for jungle mid duos that can make a lot happen. The Ahri Vi still on the table, although, and actually in a best of one, I really like when you can play something a little bit more explosive. I think it does give you the edge if you can come out swinging. Wouldn't be surprised though if this game is a lot more tempered, a lot more chill, just because of the stakes that are present and the fact that it's a return to best of one. So we do see the Varus locked in.
Shouldn't come as a surprise. Very powerful AD carry. Has been all split long, but with the Taliyah taken away, Azir naturally rises in priority. It's not been something that Czajek has put a huge amount of priority on, but of course, with the Taliyah gone, the value of the pushing wave, the scalability, perhaps that scaling angle is the safest thing to go when you are in this high pressure environment and there's a lot on the line potentially. Just going for something safe and scaling in the Azir makes a lot of sense. Vitality now, they have room to lock in their jungler if they want things like the Zhao, the Naafiri, all still available for Lyncas, depending on what direction he's thinking about. See what direction he decides to go. Of course, they could just respond to something like an Ezreal of their own.
Ooh, Jhin instead going to be the option. More utility focus for Carzzy. Perhaps a game where we see Vitality play a bit more around the top side. Giving that bot side utility pick.
I'm thinking back to Carzzy's performance over the weekend on this Jhin, and he was just monstrous on the pick. His positioning, his movement, he had massive impact, so maybe they're just defaulting to comfort. It is one of his most played. You know, on the side of Heretics, I feel like mid lane is something that they'll want to try and grab within this first rotation alongside the jungle. They are hovering Naafiri, and they're going to lock that one in for Sheo.
I feel like obviously Naafiri has been a pretty solid pick. Really high highs, some low lows, but it isn't really what I would expect Team Heretics to bet their playoffs chances on.
Yeah, I mean, an early rotation means that they came in with this game plan. Part of it is denial, taking that away from Lyncas, but also it's putting the responsibility on Sheo to be part of that carry jungle responsibility. When we see this team at its best, it's often when Sheo is stepping up and being that carry for the team. Nautilus going to be locked in means that Heretics guarantee themselves a strong bot lane 2 versus 2.
Incredibly important to have, especially against the Jhin. I think just that reliable go button, the combination of the Varus ultimate as well as the Nautilus assault. We'll see if Vitality want to respond with support again here, or if perhaps jungle is the option just to ensure they have something aggressive for Lyncas. Kind of crazy to see a draft where Vi is completely not present, but I guess once Pantheon is taken off the table, that does seem to be the most conventional trade that people are comfortable with.
Yeah. Both the junglers also just aren't massive Vi players, you know. It's but also I think Vi is definitely a little bit hit or miss, at least on stage here in the LEC. So we'll see how things pan out as we do have the Naafiri versus Jhin matchup. Both junglers looking to have high impact in this game. One of the great things about that Nautilus pick as well is that we've seen Niski have a tendency more towards these range supports, and I think that Nautilus is just a great pick into them. So it makes that matchup a little bit harder for Niski, especially if he's already thinking about something like a Karma, one of those facilitated champions, decent poke, gives you a strong lane matchup alongside the Jhin, can help support the Zhao as well. Analyst are going to be taken away, so Heretics want to mitigate some of the engaged supports that could be good into the matchup. Meanwhile, we've seen a lot of Sylas from Kamiloo, something that throughout this year has been a pick that he likes a lot, and he's had some cool outplays on it as well, so they want to take that away so that he can't steal away things like the Jhin ultimate and the Azir ulti.
Yeah, also, I mean, just would love to see more melee focus in these games. Again, I think that it's normal when teams come onto the play and they have a more scaling sort of focus, but I really prefer some all-out aggression, and both teams at least packing a little bit of firepower here. But the top lane pick for Nako still remains the biggest question for me. And Bess has also been taken away. Vitality, do they have one of those spicy counter picks ready to go? Would love to see it.
Yasuo going to be banned away. Does this mean that Carlsen's thinking about Naak, perhaps Vines?
Perhaps just doesn't want to flip it. Yasuo hasn't even really looked good for us domestically.
No.
But I think limiting variables in a best of one.
I mean, Nako is
incredibly good at it. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think solo queue pick,
it's
right?
his solo queue pick. He's the Yasuo Yone. He likes the win, bros.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where tiebreaker, you sit there and go, I don't want to give you that comfort. You know? We talked about range supports. I think Renata is really good into Nautilus. I remember back when Renata came out, it was often used as a response into the Nautilus, just because of how easily you can bully into the matchup. And when Nautilus hooks, it makes it very easy to land that ultimate.
And also just punishes the Naafiri very well. Even if she can go untargetable and dodge out on the hostile takeover, it's so hard for her to get those one-shots onto key targets on the backline. And the backline is just getting scarier and scarier for the side of Vitality, but Team Heretics want to pack a bit more firepower, a little bit more pick potential coming through as the Ahri's now locked in.
Gives you a little bit of side lane threat, but I don't love Ahri in the current meta. I think that with the Rod of Ages build being gone, her damage isn't always the best. She doesn't have the strongest one-shot potential, especially with a Renata on the other side. Like, she's a decent side laner for sure. She can help just clear waves. Ooh, and the Aatrox is going to be locked in for Carlsen on the top side. Nako, though, he has the freedom to get the counter pick. We'll see how they round things out, because right now, Vitality, they have a solid comp. They've got great front to back, a little bit more tankiness, maybe a little bit more engage could be an option for them. Something like a Naak could be very safe as well if they just want a little bit more of a well-rounded comp. Gives them good side laning, gives them the ability to stay safe in lane, and it looks like that's the direction they're going.
Yeah, and ultimately a champion who can offer a bit in team fights and a bit on side lane, as you mentioned, although immediate engage options for the side of Vitality are a little bit more difficult. And we saw this in some of the games yesterday, too. Certainly the game 2 that we cast, Vedius, where there wasn't a lot of engage. But you've got Jhin for setup in the form of utility. That'll be a boon for Vitality. Perhaps the Azir can make some plays, and Renata with a handshake the Jhin as well. But little bits of engage, but no clear, reliable go button. On the opposite side for Team Heretics, a decent number of tools to start fights. Nautilus does patch up a lot of those weak points quite easily, but we're looking for the Charm Flashes as well as Flakked's ulti once he hits level 6. But a lot of my eyes are kind of just going to be centered around seeing what these junglers can do in the early game. You expect Lyncas to be a bit more favored in terms of early impact with the Jhin.
100%. I think junglers is the name of the game. This bot lane for Heretics, I think, has a lot of setup for Sheo, and would definitely be where I set my sights early. I think it's going to be hard for the Ahri to get prio and potentially roam towards bot lane. I expect that mid lane matchup to be a little bit more of a farm fest. But yeah, a lot of pick potential on the side of Heretics. I really like the team fight strength, though, of Vitality. I think it's a very straightforward composition. I think in theory it's easy to execute. You've got a lot of potential poke, and that means that the burden of execution sort of falls on Heretics to be able to find the outplay against Vitality, and we'll see if they're able to do that.
Definitely a tough thing to do, but the tools to snowball. Perhaps a position where Team Heretics can take over, not take it to the late game. Look to close out cleanly, confidently against Vitality. No audience here today, but still a few cheers. Let's go.
Welcome to
For the players, we hope that maybe they find peace in this. Soothing, no outside distractions. No one roasting Niski except from within his own
I think
team.
some family is here.
Some family is here.
Yeah.
I believe.
I don't know whose parents, but some Heretics players' parents are definitely.
Or brothers and sisters. They seemed very young, Vedius.
That was okay.
Look, a little flattery goes a long way.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Youthful.
That's fair.
All right, so we talked about it, jungle, bot lane. Those are the 2 points that we're looking at, short of something explosive happening. When you have Nako versus Carlsen, there is the potential for maybe the 1v1 to get more bloody than expected, but we'll talk about it when it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, just a standard line of scrimmage for the time being. Teams naturally don't want to do anything too chaotic. Of course, a lot on the line for both of these teams. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is, of course, the tiebreaker to determine which team will qualify for the LEC Spring Playoffs, and the other will be eliminated from the Spring Split. Top 6 in this spring season is are the only spots we have available.
Yep.
And with 5 of them occupied, both of these teams are fighting for that last spot.
And knowing the opponent, especially that stands in front of them, it's GX, right? Top 4 different. You get the pick, you get the luxury of double elimination, but the pressure doesn't really stop, even if you're able to find this. Although you do get a bit more time as the level 1. Pretty explosive. Niski still trading back aggressively. Stend loses about half his health, and that range advantage doing okay, but I think good of Team Heretics to at least be able to have a relatively even trade despite the range discrepancy.
I mean, the heal immediately got burned, right? So yeah. I think that they're not too unhappy about that. You look at Sheo's pathing, and notice he's doing a topside clear, pathing towards bot. So if there's an opportunity for a gank, it'll definitely be in that direction. Keep my eyes as well. Lyncas looking to mirror that path, so he's there to potentially cover as well. Nice early vision investment on the bot side river. Excuse me, because we've noticed that Naafiri in particular is a champion that can have some sneaky jungle paths just because of her ability to jump over walls. And so looking for a potential invade is something that they wanted to prepare for, and it looks like that it did not come through. So Lyncas doing his full clear, doesn't have to change anything up. He's feeling pretty safe and confident in the early game as so far across the boards. Small advantage gained on the top side. You can see Nako leveraging his range advantage and the high cooldowns of this Aatrox make it harder for him to last hit every CS.
Yeah, level 5, level 7, a few more points in the queue. The Dark and Blade. Maybe Carlsen can start to trade back, but Gnar is notoriously frustrating to lane against early on as Vitality still pretty comfortable to push forward. You saw the bit of mid-prio that Kamiloo was able to establish for himself. Did result in a ward that has yet to see Lyncas, but at least covers one possible gank path. And we'll now spot him. Thank you, observers. Well highlighted. The pings now come out as well. So Vitality, they don't have a lot of great coverage here. Now we're going to finally back away. We do now know that Lyncas is in the area, courtesy of the Scryer's Bloom, however.
Sheo, we talked about the creative pathing. He's jumped over the dragon wall. He's managed to circumvent the vision. The hook comes through.
Good hook. Ignite going down onto Niski as well. Bail out there too. Niski, this is a little bit crazy. The bailout finally about to fit the way, but Stend doesn't want to overcommit. No staggering blows. I thought for sure he'd try to go for the kill there, but holds onto his flash at the very least, and a pretty big punish, but no kill.
Ultimately, it's an advantage gained for Vitality. Flakked used flash, used cleanse. Stend also dropped the ignite. While Niski, he did expend the flash. He did it for the enemy AD carry. So overall, I'd say that's worth. Carzzy still healthy on the summoner spell department. Sheo spent a decent amount of time bot, but of course the overall advantage going to Sheo as he's able to pick up the second Scuttle Crab in the early game.
And those little advantages add up. Early item push with the Naafiri, you can get that Sheo Jhin online. Get a lot of work done. Czajek coming back to lane. Kamiloo has yet to TP, but Czajek doing well for himself in the isolated 1v1 despite, okay, a 12 gold deficit is kind of a big gold deficit, but he's doing well. He's got a health advantage. He's still held on to the TP. It's kind of what you want out of this early game. We'll see if Kamiloo, once he hits level 6, can try to make some plays in mid lane. But Czajek just sitting back, scaling comfortably is a pretty good sight for Vitality fans.
I imagine he's going to look to spend the TP himself now. Keeping an eye on the minimap. Reset's going to come through from Carzzy as well. He's going to spend some gold himself. Overall, nothing too crazy.
Top side. I mean, a quiet game. I think this is the thing about these high stakes, especially best of ones. I think it was a best of 3. Maybe we see something a little bit more aggressive, but both teams know what's on the line. Neither one wants to flip it. That bot side play where I thought maybe Stend would get more aggressive, a much more conservative choice. Didn't burn the flash, didn't try to finish off Niski. But with Dragon up, perhaps Vitality want to fight a bit more.
Thing is, I think there's always that extra moment of hesitation, right? Of making that first play, just because so much is on the line. That best of one.
It's a floodgate, really, usually.
And like teams always talk about how quickly games like this can just snowball out of control. So the tendency is to just play more on the reserved side, wait for those plays that are like 80-20, rather than playing for the 60-40. And so I think you're seeing that reservation, which again, when we come back to draft, especially in Europe, types of draft like Vitality are often just the better drafts in situations like this because you just get to scale, you know?
Yeah.
You don't overcomplicate the draft. You're fine playing a slower game. You recognize that people are going to be nervous. They're going to be hesitant to always pull the trigger. But Sheo, he's eager. He's fishing for something.
Bit of damage down to Carzzy.
No easy hook angle, though.
How do you imagine you have to know that something is up? Winds becomes lightning, see the ward come down over the wall. They're confident now that Sheo is on the bottom side of the map. Kamiloo's here too. Vitality need to be careful. The engage range of this Ahri is big. Stend flashing in the hook, not connecting though. both the Dark Dagger's going to miss as well, so Heretics thought they had an angle. They definitely had a man advantage, but ability's not quite connecting.
Yeah, if the hook connects, then that's definitely a play, and we get a lot of fighting, but that's the flash gone, and Lyncas is still hovering around.
Stend now rooted up. Lyncas going to full commit here. His handshake has gone down, but Lyncas is only level 5! And now the Poikenu's coming out. He will manage to heal back up, but Sheo's ready to go. And ulti could start to turn things around. Goes untargetable. They get one back. Good bailout coming in from Nisqy to make it a 1-for-1, but it's jungle for support traded.
We talked about how this bot lane was going to be the focus and jungle involvement was going to be crucial, and both junglers have just been hovering around this duo. Lyncas forces the play knowing that Stend doesn't have his flash available and knows he has the security of the bailout. With the hook going wide once more, Stend gets rooted up, and it's an easy engage option for Lyncas, but he gets targeted so quickly this early on. The level 6 secured for Sheo as well, but it means the Vitality still get that first blood, but at this point he's committed. He realizes no way out, so at the very least he trades 1-for-1. Both AD carries pick up a kill, and the Dragon falls in favor of Heretics. So overall, I would say advantage to Heretics.
Definitely. I think the fact that Sheo also has a little bit of an XP advantage didn't end up being super crucial, but was nice to have. Still a good look from Vitality. They bursted so much of Stend's health down before Aftershock came available, before he was able to proc it in any way. That said, level 5 for Stend. Can just look to force something aggressive here. By himself, not that scary, but with Sheo standing behind him, the potential for damage is pretty massive. Charm connects. No immediate follow-up.
Swaps from both sides to the top side of the map, ready for the Grubs contest.
But Team Heretics are just a step ahead.
It's interesting because it was Vitality that actually ended up swapping first, but it's that control in mid-wave.
Look out, nice handshake back from Nisqy. Well timed, Kamiloo now trying to follow him. Charm onto Nisqy. Doesn't want to let him give him the chance to bail, but he had to bail out himself. Stend still living! Stend still standing, they're turning back. Carzzy's gonna try to free fire. The body blocks are ready to go. Taking in turns. Carzzy tries to curve the bullet, but it's still 3 grubs up. Dash in from Kamiloo. Charm connects. Q there as well, but now Czajek's on the way in. The route coming in from Carzzy is clean. Kamiloo overstaying. It's a kill back for Vitality. They may just turn to the grubs.
Heretics overstay their welcome. They'd gotten that initial pick, but Carzzy's ultimate did a lot because he was threatening onto Stend. They had to tank all of the bullets, meaning that now with the health difference the way that it is, Vitality's more eager to fight with the arrival of Czajek. Kamiloo goes for that single player onto Carzzy, and at that point he's now invested everything, and Carzzy gets a nice little outplay, connecting the route onto Kamiloo, meaning that Czajek then sets up for the counterplay. Grubs go in favor of Vitality, the kills remain 2-2, and we look back at the play, and again, it's Stend initially getting caught. The problem is they don't quite have the damage to get this initial kill. Kamiloo arrives and Czajek is still on the rotation. A nice route comes down onto Lyncas, followed up by the ultimate from Flakked, makes it even harder for him to follow up. But this ulti was crucial from Carzzy just because of how much damage it did to the backline. While the charm does connect, Flakked and Kamiloo just don't have the damage between them to really threaten Carzzy. So he goes for a little bit more, doesn't respect how much damage he actually needs, and then Czajek ends up getting the punish.
Definitely a bit rough. The gold still does feel very close, but most of the gold lead, the entire gold lead really, is in the hands of Sheo, while the solo laners of Vitality quietly amassing these individual leads. Cole as well for Nako feeling super comfortable in that side lane. It's only going to feel better now that he has all 3 grubs picked up. Carlsen needs to be careful, but Sheo has been, I mean, credit to him, always where he's needed to be in these early game plays, but it's still Vitality winning out. 2v4. Carlsen with the tower beside him. TPUs. Nisqy locked up for a moment. Infernal Chains not quite going to bring him back. He's laying even, so this shouldn't cost Kamiloo too much, but losing the TP to defend the dive does feel a bit awkward.
Flakked given so much free reign to hit onto the top tower, though. He's going to be picking up a decent number of plates for himself. He's already got a nice CS lead, but getting that extra gold from the plates is going to be a nice advantage. TP now going to be committed by Nako towards the top side of the map as Czajek moves back towards mid, and the lane's called kind of reset to neutral. Nice idea from Vitality, as rightly said, by getting the TP out from Kamiloo, that's already a win. The problem is they'd already committed kind of 5 people to the bot side, and it was 1 too many.
And ultimately, Nako has to TP back to the top lane, balancing out the TPs. And it's really Flakked who wins out there, able to grab those plates. Not for free, certainly. There's a ton of context kind of unfolding around him, but definitely the winner in that entire exchange is Heretics now setting up on the bottom side of the map. Still 90 seconds till Drake, but they do want to clear out a little bit of vision. And this is the power of the trio you see invading the jungle of Vitality. Carzzy walks into Fog of War here, and Kamiloo is waiting a charm into a hook. Vitality know it. Sending a lot of members down, want to reclaim their own side of the jungle.
Vitality back to playing a slower game. They're more than happy to just continue farming.
We're not sure if it's spotted Sheo.
Nice awareness by Carzzy. He looked at the map state, he realized I don't have jungle support, I can't really approach the wave, that's also a stacked wave. There's a high risk, the people are hovering and threatening a dive. So a good use of his ward keeps him alive. Nice bit of poke damage comes through from Flakked as the dragon spawns in 40 seconds. Resets need to come through from Stend as he looks to replenish his ward base. Kamiloo taking a lot of damage, he needs to be cautious.
Kamiloo is struggling in the 1v1 here against Czajek as Ahri into this Azir.
I mean, getting that kill on the top side really swung the gold in Czajek's favor. Obviously, it doesn't look that significant, but if Czajek can just complete that Leandries ahead of this next fight, that would be huge for him, especially with the TP. But Kamiloo getting the Malignance is a nice item to pick up, especially with the dragon just around the corner. Notably, Sheo is on the top side of the map right now, so Heretics don't have the best position. Early vision investment from them from their prior invade means that they definitely won't have to contest blind. They get the push in mid, Czajek goes back to base, gets that upgrade, along with the Ruby Crystal. So ultimately, relatively even in terms of itemization across the board, I would say.
Yeah, and I think overall, we talked about it before, the scaling does favor Vitality. Heretics, arguably better tools to find these picks, to force these plays, but haven't really found the angle to get single kills without losing something in exchange. Maybe it does get easier now that the Malignance is available for Kamiloo. Good charm over the wall, connecting on Lyncas, but only a bit of a chunk before the dragon inevitably gets started.
I mean, this is what Heretics need to do. Leverage Fog of War. When Vitality come to face check, they're getting poked away at. And it's important to recognize that Lyncas is really the only one that can face check. I suppose you could use the soldiers to try and fish around in the bushes, but even then you're putting yourself within pick range, especially from a flash charm. So it's difficult for Vitality to actually approach these objectives, and that makes it much easier for Heretics, assuming they play patiently, to chip away at their HP bars.
Moving down the river now. A bit of vision set up, not quite spotted by that control ward. Fog well highlighted by our observers as Kamiloo goes over the wall, locking up the Zan. The instant follow coming through as Sheo goes right on top. Niski taken out in the blink of an eye.
A great example of what we were talking about. Niski, not even that overextended, but Heretics, they managed to reclaim vision control over the river. Niski doesn't react in time to the play from Kamiloo, and it ends up being converted into a quick pick and the dragon as well. So Heretics playing their composition patiently, smoothly, and getting a nice little lead here in the early game.
And see if they can keep that momentum going now. So good to be able to put yourself in a position to get soul point on the next Drake. Of course, 44 seconds until Herald spawns, so one objective after another. Maybe they can reset and get control fast enough, but currently Carlsen losing out on topside push, so it may be a bit tricky.
Well, this is what I wanted to say, because something you mentioned earlier was that the solo laners of Vitality have just been quietly farming away, and Nako completely isolated. We have not seen jungle intervention in this top lane matchup whatsoever, but also, while that play was happening around the dragon, Czajek just continued to farm. He's level 11. Drakos. He's extended his 300 gold lead to 600 gold leads.
Yeah.
And even though it was Kamiloo that got that initial kill, like, this Azir is just, he is escalating incredibly quickly. So Vitality's game plan is very clear. Continue to farm, continue to scale. They're trusting in their later game team fighting and their ability to outplay Heretics. And a lot of trust is coming down to these solo laners to find those outplays and be the win condition for Vitality.
Definitely true. Lyncas moving bot lane. Looks like the call is to dive bottom to take down this tower. In the meantime, Sheo has started the Herald. Nako wandering towards that objective you can see on the mini-map with the dive where we're going to keep our focus. Lyncas connecting on the Wind Becomes Lightning. Nice hook into the charm. Tower's going to keep connecting. Ulti as well, forcing the flash out from Lyncas. And again, this bot lane tower has been the bane of Vitality. That's 2 dives back-to-back where they haven't gotten the kill. The good news is, while they did lose the Herald, they will eventually break this tier 1.
That they will. And they will secure the first tower blood for the game. Meanwhile, on the rest of the map, you mentioned the Herald. But with Carzzy sitting in mid lane and Nako kind of freezing the wave on top, there's not really much else for Heretics to convert it into. Of course, the Herald will be nice to have when it comes to contesting the next dragon, having that pressure. It will be a Chem Soul, which, I mean, I think it's become a pretty good soul, especially after the last round of buffs that it got. Makes you that much more durable, especially in extended team fights.
I think it's probably, it's probably still not the best, but ultimately, getting control of that objective, still important. Especially with Otacon spawn being on the bottom side of the map as well. Naturally where Team Heretics are going to want to be.
Czajek up to it.
Nako just continues to be a nuisance. Keep in mind, he was getting push in lane without having completed that item. Finally recalls and completes the Trinity Force, and you can see how one-sided the trades are. 4 stacks left on the Cole, too, so it's about to be a huge gold injection for Vitality and Nako. Team Heretics may try to force the fight. TP onto the top side. Niski off on the side, has been caught out. Sheo channeling the Herald here, maybe hoping to find a Nako of his Nako is now one running. Now it's going to be the initial kill onto Niski. The bailout coming through, but he already had to burn it on himself. Kamiloo now chasing Niski, not going to be able to get one kill back. Czajek forced away. Sheo getting the reset, but it's only Niski down so far. In the meantime, push coming through in the mid lane from Carzzy, but it's the Herald crashing topside. Nako might be in trouble. Stend here looking for a little bit of a round 2. Flash away from the hook. Charm going in. Nako clean footwork though. Finally a second charge. A TP in. I don't think this is what Sheo wanted. He's just going to try to get out of here as quickly as he can. Meanwhile in the mid lane, Flakked trying to hold on as best he can. It's a bit of a messy sequence across the map.
Yeah, action happening across the board. Some crucial takeaways are that Heretics get their first tower of the game, but Vitality find themselves with 3. The gold is still in their favor just because of the advantages that the solo laners continue to accrue. Like, it's Heretics being proactive on the map, but Nako has a 1.1k gold lead.
There's a diffy in the tiffy.
Yep. And meanwhile, in mids, again, we come back to it, still a full level difference between Czajek and Kamiloo. And it's Kamiloo working with his team to try and find plays on the map, and Czajek's like, okay, I'll just... I mean, he went top to steal farm. Take a tower, leave. I'm going back to farming. That man is just moving around the map, prioritizing, opening up the map by securing these early towers, and he's just prioritizing catching waves where he can. Of course, the 1k gold lead in favor of Sheo it's noticeable. It's there. In terms of the atomization, he looks strong. The question is, will he be enough as we get closer and closer to these big fights?
Yeah. And it's interesting because you can see the prio pick of the Varus for Team Heretics is good, but it's been matched okay by the Jhin that Carzzy's brought, whereas the blind of Azir has not really been matched by Kamiloo's Ahri at all. Despite the expectations of better early playmaking, as Nako is a menace. Follow coming in from Lyncas as well. Kamiloo forced to ult. Sheo now trying to run. He's just going to Goomba stuff. Instant 2 into the wall. Nako. 1v9 machine finding the engage. Flakked finally firing back, but he throws a house at him. He takes him out. Vitality on the chase. It's a slaughter in the river. They get the 5v5. The solo laners finally allowed to participate.
Wow, Vitality just steamroll through Heretics, picking up 3 quick kills and an uncontested dragon. Might be fishing for more. Carlsen is hovering around. He wants to stop this red buff.
Infernal Chains down. Nako going forward. World Ender there. Big healing coming in. Niski now going to be the one in trouble. Red buff versus Carlsen.
Barely saving Niski.
Managing to disengage. I think Nako as well, but the dragon will fall. But the dragon, to be honest, in that sequence, not that important. The massive number of kills, the huge gold injection, going to be the bigger problem.
The snap engage from Vitality was quick and effective. Heretics was immediately on the back foot, forced to retreat. And then Nako and Czajek, the solo laners, as you highlighted, were really impactful in this fight. Both finding themselves with the 1.5k individual lead over their lane opponent. It's just a contest over the river, but Sheo takes way too much damage trying to clear out a ward. He then has to disengage. He gets brought back in by the handshake, and then that's Nako's opportunity to go in. One shot lands from Carzzy, a second lands. Stend has to block it, but Nako can still find the kill. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, Czajek is taking out Kamiloo with the help of his team, and he walks away with a double. 3-0-0 now for the Vitality mid lane.
Heretics trying to fire back now, taking control of mid lane. Otacon ready on the bottom side of the map. We'll see if they can find a way to even things up. It's only a 1.3k gold difference between them, but I think Team Heretics a bit over-eager there around the river, right? We know they have better engage tools, but if they walk face first into Vitality, Vitality can still find those hooks, can find those handshakes, make the fights happen. Kamiloo at the very least trying to pick up as much farm as he can, try to catch up to Czajek, who still remains about a whole level ahead of him.
Vitality should feel pretty comfortable with their position right now. They've demonstrated that when it comes to the fights, they're still more than strong enough. And you talked about the handshakes. Here's another.
Handshake. There it is. Kamiloo one dash. Charm there as well. Ultra Blast Cone going to take him out. It's so difficult.
Open up the Otacon is the question. Azir is there. He's pushing in bot lane.
And I think while Niski has died a couple of times, the combination of the bailout and these clean handshakes have been so impossible for Team Heretics to deal with. It's resulted in so many quick kills, so many picks. He's got 80% kill participation, and yeah, maybe some mispositioning, but ultimately a solid performance. Great use of that Renata that you mentioned in draft. Team Heretics willing to bet on the 50-50. TP in. Sheo not sure if he wants to get involved. Nako powerful. 2K getting lower on the Otacon. Ulti in from Sheo. Sheo in the midst of the pit. Who's going to get the Otacon? 50-50 on the smite. Lyncas is getting lower and lower. He just wants to finish the objective. Charm through. 200 HP. Otacon finally going to drop in favor of Vitality while Nako is off on the side. Just continuing to rain auto attacks. Hyper procs. Everything in their favor. Carlsen tries to style, but Nako faster. He jumps. It just completely bamboozles him. Nako playing a game of his life right now.
Vitality's health bars get so low that Heretics cannot finish anyone off. It is 4 kills for Vitality. It's going to be another tower as well. They are just running rampant in these fights, and Heretics is quickly losing control over the game.
And again, we see the start here, the call, the 50-50. It's a difficult fight. Ultimately, though, Vitality just getting a lot done.
So Nako immediately TPs in, and he kind of splits up the fight a little bit. Vitality gets very low. Then Sheo diving into the backline, completely isolated, means that Vitality turn all their attention onto him. A nice snipe from Flakked, but then the bailout brings Czajek back into the fight. He's able to go back to base and then look for a TP in. The snipes come through, and you can see how low Vitality members get. But Flakked really can't get involved in the fight. He's doing what he can from over the wall, but the consistent damage coming through from Vitality means that they just get the better of Heretics in the extended play.
And it's this situation now where Team Heretics have to rally. 4K gold deficit, it starts to feel impossible, but you cannot let yourself feel that way. This is a team that held out in so many games, in so many situations over the regular season to mount impossible comeback, even against Vitality with bigger gold leads than this. But that said, it doesn't make it easy. Even the knowledge that you've done it once before does not make it an easy task. And we mentioned it, Vitality's scaling. They're so comfortable in this game.
Vitality sometimes get over aggressive.
Nako going into the midst of the team. The peel back is good. Nako getting chunked out. The Nari tries to find the ult. It's a little bit too desperate. The bailout is there, but I don't think it's going to amount to much. Sheo now going in. Manages to reset. Carlsen off to the side. Hook now connecting. Looking for some fall, but Carzzy's untouched as of yet. Niski standing off to the side. A few more seconds till the bailout's available again. Stend looking for a little bit of lockup. Trying to make his way out. Lyncas taking his time in the fight. Finding one. Carzzy off to the side. Looking to add a little bit of damage to the mix. In the end, a 1-for-1 top laner for support.
Thing is, Heretics should have been happy with the single kill that they got, but they wanted to fish for a little bit more, and now they're paying for it. Carzzy likely going to get chunked back, but I don't think he cares as Czajek continues to hit onto that top tower. It's a 1-for-1, but another tower gained in favor of Vitality. The dragon is spawning soon. Sheo, is he thinking about it? It's a bit risky. I mean, the pings are coming down. TP not available for Kamiloo, is available for Carlsen. Sheo quickly trying to heal up where he can as Vitality quickly reset back out onto the map.
Oh, the trap. Giving them a bit of info. Scuttlecrab down now, so they will at least have some vision in the pit.
I don't think they can afford to contest.
I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
I don't think this is where you want to fight.
Yeah, I agree. Try and get a bit more itemization. Try and look for a pick. I mean, a pick would make all the difference with a composition like this. You could quickly snowball into so much more.
It's tough, though. Carzzy has the cleanse. Czajek has the Seekers. So a lot of the targets that you would be able to kill quickly are just not easy pickings. Especially with the build that Czajek's gone for, right? So much just flat HP.
Vitality is in a fantastic spot right now. With full control over the game, they'll start moving into the enemy jungle. That red buff, Sheo. Vitality have set their sights on it.
See if we can win the 50-50. Answer is yes. Have another smite charge for a little bit, but shouldn't matter too much. Ulti going in. Carzzy the one caught off to the side. Bailout already used and Niski taken down. Hook going in as well, and it's Lyncas who's overstays welcome. Sheo now looking to follow up 2 quick picks. And Baron's all on the board. Baron's on the table. Nako's on the bottom lane. Team Heretics rushing now.
Exactly what we were talking about. Heretics finding these picks can be massive, and how quickly you can snowball it into another pick. Heretics set their sights on the Baron, a potential comeback on the horizon. It's down to Czajek to see if he can interrupt.
20K. Czajek over the wall. And Nako continuing to split. Shifting stance from Czajek to get away. Stend going over the wall, locking up Czajek for at least a moment. Nasher down, 4 seconds back, but they will concede an inhibitor tower at the very least. Perhaps the inhibitor as well, but Nako has to be careful not to overstay himself. No retreat. Team Heretics big. obviously losing a lot of the gold value because that tower was conceded, but also not giving Baron to Vitality does mean they have so much more time in this game to get a few more items.
Huge props to Heretics for finding that pick onto Niski. It was Carzzy that originally flashed, but remember, they engaged from the red buff. So this engage is not expected by Vitality at all. Both Sheo and Kamiloo go over the wall. Niski does not flash away from the charm. And then a bit of a re-engage from Lyncas means that it spells his demise, allowing for Stend to connect on the hook, connect the ultimate as well, converted into 2 picks. Now Heretics, they haven't completely equalized the gold. There's still a monstrous advantage in both solo lanes for Vitality.
I mean, they're
a breath of fresh air.
We're in a weird position where every time the solo lanes are involved, they win the fight. But when Czajek and Nako aren't there, if Heretics can get a fight, they're very clearly going to win it. Something I think Vitality will probably remember next time.
Good hook, a single charm is all it takes.
Next flash in, Stend managing to connect on a Nako. They're not going to be able to immediately burst him down as the rage starts to stack. Varus all connecting. A couple of roots there.
The damage is good. They get a huge chunk onto Nako. The cannon minions are doing work. They should be able to secure this tower.
Down to tier 2. Sheo immediately going untargetable to try to mitigate the threat of the handshake. Kamiloo did opt to ult.
They want to get as much out of this Baron as they possibly can, and why not continue the siege? Vitality's members are very low.
Hostile takeover. Sheo moving out. Charm connecting onto Carzzy. Big damage, bailout gone. The arrow, where's it going to go? Will not connect. Carzzy forced to retreat though. Might mean they get a bit more.
They're definitely going to get more. This tower is undefended as Carzzy is forced to back. They're setting their sights on the inhibitor.
Is it happening again? Zonya's there. Pressure on Vitality. They can't afford to make any more mistakes. They had the lead. Carzzy opening up. The curtains there. Sheo backing away. Stend ready to body block. The hook to take him out. And it's going to be an inhibitor down. Traded bot lane for bot lane.
The gold gap is completely closed. Heretics now in a much more commanding position. Admittedly, a lot of the gold lead is sitting on Sheo. But we now have a very interesting game on our hands.
Look, all I'll say is, Nako entering that Baron, got a tower, they got a tower and an inhibitor. They're sitting pretty, they're sitting comfortable, and we know how strong Nako and Czajek are. It's the other 3 members of Vitality that are getting caught out, and Team Heretics have found members that they can pick off consistently, and they just keep getting the edge with it, and eventually, Sheo's going to be able to take down anybody he wants. He's so massively far ahead.
The poke from Flakked is monstrous right now. He actually has a full level over Carzzy himself. So as long as he can keep connecting this poke, as long as charms are still coming through from Kamiloo, again, the pick composition can be lethal.
Sheo hopping over, untargetable for a brief moment with the root, connecting. Sheo now trying to retreat.
Look at Kamiloo.
Again, hopping back out to safety. Carlsen off on the side, looking for a bit more knockup. Niski already taken out. Kamiloo going forward. One more dash. Stend hooking the wall, not the ideal target. One more charge for Kamiloo. Stend rooted up with the entire team ready to body block for him. Locket used just to keep him standing. And another tower dropping in the meantime.
It's another pick in favor of Heretics. Pick after pick. Vitality is quickly falling apart. They had such a firm grasp on this game. But Vitality find themselves running into similar issues that we've seen from them before. From winning positions, they make a single mistake. They overstep their bounds. And Heretics, the resilient team, as they have been throughout spring, they stay strong. They find picks, they find opportunities, and they're very much still in this game.
Yeah, and despite the power of Czajek and Nako on these champions, priority pick Azir, the counter pick Gnar. Outside of 1 or 2 fights, they just haven't been able to leverage these leads the way that they would like. And as Team Heretics, as you said, we didn't see it as much as we would have liked in the early game, but the mid game, at a 4K deficit, is where this team came alive, kept finding those picks, and have fought a way back into this game.
It would be cruel poetry for Vitality
Again?
to find themselves in a similar situation where they have a winning map state and then things just fall apart. Of course, Heretics still need to close things out, and Vitality is by no means weak. We've already talked extensively about the strength of their solo laners. Carzzy on this Jhin, we've seen him perform magic before. This is a very close game. It's very much just Vitality's forced to play on the defensive due to losing their inhibitor. Also, there's not really much on the map to play for, so there's no need to overextend or put yourself in a dangerous position. So we return to farm, we wait for the Baron to respawn. This is when Heretics, their setup around the top side of the jungle is going to be crucial. For Vitality, they want to get what vision they can, especially around the Baron pit. If they have some deep flanking wards as a possibility, it gives them TP opportunities, it gives them avenues of attack. The Heretics, their priority right now is going to be pushing in mid and looking to clear out all of that vision to put Vitality in the dark.
Interesting, Flakked going 4th item Serpent's Fang. Love to see it against the double Sterix gauge coming out for Vitality, especially as it's so easy for him to just lay that damage down and mitigate that shielding. Additionally, I thought Carzzy, if he gets a bit more time to get money under his belt, the rapid fire cannon is going to make him so frustrating. Kamiloo's had so much freedom to dash in, to get aggressive. With those RFC autos, the additional range makes it that much more risky for Kamiloo to step up and fish for these picks. But still, it does feel like Heretics are the team in the driver's seat. They're the team with the tools to make plays. Sheo playing with a lot of confidence, despite not having a ton of vision. It won't cost him too much.
I guess he's trusting in his ability to go invulnerable. But Heretics are doing the right thing. They're moving into the enemy jungle. Look at this vision. It is... Vitality can barely see anything. Like this... Ooh, Kamiloo.
Root onto Kamiloo. One more auto. He's about to get one pop. Nako finishes the kill. Has just gone mega. Has flash. Has the hop.
That is a huge mistake from Kamiloo. 45 seconds. The Ahri is now down. The Baron is available, and Vitality should very much look to try and start a fight.
Team Heretics need to find a pick of their own if they want to stop this from happening. But Nako, once again, fearless, just running face first.
They'll melt this Baron with the Azir. Czajek, level 17 now. It's going to be started off. Here we go.
Doesn't have Nashers, but it will still be decent damage. Baron doing some damage back in return. The Flakked hook, something we'll have to keep our eye on. Redemption coming through. Ulti crucially missing from Flakked as Nako starts to stack Rage. Lynch is hopping out of the pit to try and keep Sheo away. Untargetability down. Niski missing with the ult, but it doesn't matter. That's Baron to the side of Vitality. Team Heretics starting to back away. Down goes the big purple worm. Vitality happy to have the buff. Team Heretics trying to herd them, trying not to let them walk back. Stend only taking a little bit of damage. Nako waiting
Carlsen
patiently in the brush. Sheo full committing. Nako going mega, but it's Carlsen on the backside. Carlsen getting a bit more damage down, and then Czajek can't do a hell of anything as Lyncas is going in. Kamiloo to Varus. Niski in trouble. Nako desperate to try and turn it back with the Gnar. It's too little. It's too late. The follow-up is there. Triple kill for Carlsen. Bodied in lane, but man, this man finds a way. Coming alive. Down goes Nako. Team Heretics have made the impossible possible. They have made the comeback happen.
It is a clean ace, and there is no one standing in their way. There is only the Nexus towers left that will quickly fall, and Heretics have done it.
Oh, they were doubted after yesterday, but they stayed strong, calm, cool, collected. Team Heretics make it to playoffs.
A hard-fought season for Heretics. 4K gold down, but they find the picks, they find the avenues back into the game. And then it was the Carlsen flank at the very end, the TP arrival of Kamiloo. Vitality, they could not get away, and Heretics got an ace, a clean ace at that.
The clean ace, the call to keep them around the Baron despite the potential for them to get turned on and lose 2 or 3 members, playing just at arm's length right until that flank arrived.
To end their season on what has been the story of their split, resilience, finding ways to fight back.
That felt like a best of 5 in one game.
It's like they're always at the edge of the cliff, yet they never drop their shield. They stand and they will take that beating until they see that small window to fight back.
And the chance for redemption against GX. Some incredible stuff.